All right, I'm going to try to share what I call the EMA strategy. So I use the 5, the 12, 48, and 200 EMA. I like to do the 5 EMA as green, the 12 as yellow, the 48 as purple, and the 200 as red. For me, green is go, yellow is cautious, the purple is kind of like, all right, you're about to really need to stop, and then this is like extreme, right? Get out, kind of stop. So green over yellow, for me it's go. If it's green under yellow, then it's down. So it's bearish, or yeah, bearish. So green under yellow, bearish. Green over yellow is bullish. Green over everything, of course, is extremely bullish. That's always the favorite. That's where you can start swinging. So usually within the first 10, 20 minutes, you can kind of start figuring out where things are at. So here is 950. I just kind of sped that up, 950 to see where things are at. So you can see here VIX, the 25 was really lit up already, and this was at 950 right here. It's still going, right? And for Qs at 950, you can see that the 593 was lit up. So you can start charting that right away. So if you wait for that first candle, it closed over, but then I always wait, 950, I always wait for different candles. So if you waited here before you longed it, right? If you could try to long it, but you always want to wait for the next candle. You can see here that the EMAs are still bearish, so it would make no sense to go long. You would have gotten trapped here because it didn't close over the 48, and you have the notes telling you where things are going. Right? VIX is still bullish. This is going to be bearish. This came down, but it's still over the greens, so this is a fake out. So come down, 597, gatekeeper node. You see that here, kind of touched it, went up, touched that EMA, and then it just went down. And once it breaks down, so me personally, if this comes all the way down hard and you want to enter puts, you want to get as close as you can to the EMAs or to that next node before you re-enter. This was right here, it would have been at 1030. So just to show you, let's go like 1028. Look at this, 597 is gatekeeper node. It's stronger than these, and it's still bearish. You don't want to long it, and if you did long it, then this is your exit sign right here, because look, you still got the EMAs. So at 1028, let's go to 1030. Look at this, 596. It went down pretty quick. It got rejected very fast, right? And this here is still lit. Like we already went there once, and we're gonna try to keep going until VIX kind of stops, and then there's a structure. But 593, look at this. We never close a 10-minute under 593. Now, every 30 minutes, or I'm sorry, every 1 hour, we have a 1 hour candle close. So this was at 1030. We closed above the level. So it's going to attempt to go up. Yeah, we closed above the 597, right? And then we closed like in the middle, and then it kept going up. So I like to use 10-minute. I want to get used to the 2-minute because look at this. You could have caught this. I mean, you would have gone trapped here. Look at this. It closed once over. It didn't close anything. This was bullish for a second, right? It was bullish for what, 6 minutes? Maybe one candle. And then it just went down. So it can be good, but then that's why you want to look at the 10-minute. See, it always, every time you zoom out, you just get a clearer picture. It's like in the afternoon. Look at this. We could not close over 600. This is on the Qs. This was telling that, hey, we're going to keep coming down, you know. But here, let's see, at 130, we could have looked at 130. This is the only glitch right now happening with Webull. It does this. At 130, look at this. We closed below it. So it's probably going to touch the EMAs, right? It's going to attempt, but it just doesn't. And then it just kind of crushed down. So with this, if you want to go long, the perfect way to use this, I mean, if you caught it down here, great, right? You saw that 593, that last one, This happened at 11:10. So let's skip to 11:10. Look at this. So this kind of tells you strong, and this one's growing. So this kind of told you like, all right, we're ready to go. Could even go here. Look at this, is already growing. It came down a little bit. There's gatekeeper nodes, strong. Oh, I just keep stopping. And then it just keeps growing. So that was a sign right there, like we're gonna go, and this thing just ran, right? If you're on the 2-minute, check this out. 2-minute came up, closed over. Look at this. The 2-minute closed over both. You wait for the next one, and then you could long it. But even if you longed it, look at this. This is your support. You could have longed it here. You could have waited. If you didn't long this, if you're waiting, and you saw this, this would be your entry as close as you possibly can to the EMAs. This is what 11:16. Let's look at 11:16. Look at this. Nothing at the 594. It just up 595, which would have been right here, which is a 48 EMA. So you're right around here. There's nothing. It's clean, meaning these are going to act as continuation. And look at this. Sure enough, when you look at this, look at this. It just went. Just longed it. So you could try to use a 2-minute, but again, we saw up here that it can trap you. But over here, you know, when you're looking at the 10-minute, when you're looking at the 2-minute, you kind of have to always be watching everything and your nodes. Look at this. This was at 12:40. Look at how nasty this was. You could have gone trapped, right? Like here, you're already under, so you don't want to touch this. But then here, it closed above, right? You could have closed above both. It came down, and then it just ripped. And if you don't want to, you could have always waited for right here. And then here you just get into chop. Like, I don't think you want to do that. Look at this. But then here's your 200 EMA. This was at 1436. 14. This is more for like scalping, I guess, if you really want to scalp. Look at this, 600. Is that purple? 1436. And it just kept launching to 601. Right, came down. You know, there's that 50-cent difference or whatever dollar. And this was your go. There's nothing underneath it, so you could have scalped it. But once you break underneath it, you know it's going to go bearish. So that's kind of the strategy. It's using your levels from the nodes. How do you know when to go long? Of course, you know, green over, wait for a pullback, then enter. This was hard. If you were on the 2-minute, you would have sniped everything. But again, you have to be very careful because this can trap you, right? Now, one of the things that the wider the EMAs are, the play should play out for a little bit longer. So look at this. It's really not that wide. But like I said, I like when it rips down because then the EMA spread. Rips down, you wait, enter, and then you can ride it. You know it's always going to be touching. How do you stay in a play? You look at your nodes. You look at where's that next target, and you just hold. You hold, and then you just exit. And then once you exit, you could just wait, or you could re-enter. For puts, if that king node is still there, you could re-enter and play it. Now it gets choppy, right? Look at this. On the 2-minute, it looks nasty. This was perfect right here. Rips down, come up, and then it's nice and open. Same here. Look at this. Rips up, comes down, the EMAs are nice and spread, and that gives you confidence. Gives you confidence that you can continue to go. Same thing here. Look at this. Rips. You would have to wait, enter here, close, and then maybe you just get what? 2 points? I mean, 2 or 3. 2 or 3 points is still pretty freaking good if you're diligent and exiting out, you know. So look at this. You just nice and wide. Of course, on the 10-minute, it's going to be a little bit harder now to make any money, but you could have waited here, 599. Yeah, 599. So almost 2 points if you think about it. If you would have nailed it, 2 points. 2 points is 2 points. If you're doing delta, $50 per contract, you have 10. That's $500 a point. That's $1,000 right here. Just scalping. I hope this is helpful. You know, bearish, close underneath the EMAs. This EMA. So once you close down below, you want to wait for the EMAs for confirmation. You could, if you're long here and this closes, you could just leave. You could just exit. But look at here. If you would have done that, you would have gotten a little bit more. I think that's at that time I had mentioned like, hey, you got to exit. Watch for that exit. And but this is perfect exit here. As soon as your candle closes below, like it's gonna keep going down, and it's spread nice too. And look at this here. You can attempt it, but it failed, and that's where you would get out. That candle breaks, you try to go up a little bit more, and then just get out. I think there was one yesterday where I held it. Was it yesterday or the day before, where it was kind of like a fake out? Oh, this one here. Oh, it was this one. It was on Monday when the EMAs were nice and spread, and I was like, no, we gotta hold it, right? We didn't close. The EMAs were still spread. Yeah, this was on Monday when I was telling you like, hey, you gotta hold the cues, and like it broke up. I saw it bullish, and it held. I think I entered like here or something, and just kept coming down. But I was like, as long as we don't close underneath here, we're fine. And it just kept going. Look at this. Wait, came down, keep going. Once you broke below, you can wait to see. Okay, now you close below, like, yeah, it's bearish, fake out, and then come down. So I hope this is helpful. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier if we talk through it, but just remember 5/12, bullish, wait for the pullback, then enter. Always watch VIX. They're going to do the opposites. If VIX is bullish, you're going to be bearish on our charts. And watch the 2 minute if you want to snipe, the 10 minute. Always look at the every hour, look at the 1 hour. Right? This was 11/7. I think there's a time that I told Gil to just hold. Well, we closed far from the EMAs and we just like went up. But the same thing could be said about today when we were like down here and then it just went up. That was at all 11:30. So closed down, came down, and we were like spaced way up here, and it had to come back up. So many times it works. Of course, VIX has been doing its thing. When we look at the 4 hour, look at this thing. It was up here, it came down, but the EMAs move. You always got to remember that, so they moved. I think yesterday I was hoping for it to come down and we could just not get it. On the 14th, it was up here and we finally came down and then yellow. I think today I was mentioning when I was like, well, you got to be careful that 23 has to break. Look at the 1 hour. Came down all the way to the yellow EMA and just bounced nicely. Same here, came down, almost touched the EMA and it went up. So you always want to make sure every hour, so every 30 minutes or every hour and a half or whatever, look at the 1 hour, see where we're at. If we're here, we know we're going to come down and you could try to get that for profit. Here was a fake out, then, I hope this helps. Just remember, what is bullish. So green under is bullish, and you can see extreme bearish. I'm sorry, extreme bearish when yellow is below everything. Look at this. Everything. Eventually, we'll have to come back and touch it eventually. But for bullish, look at this. So here's your 200 EMA on the 1 hour or on the 4 hour. This was October 23rd. Finally broke over on the 4, and you want to get as close as you can to the EMAs. And it just kept going up. Look at this, perfect. I love when this happens. There's air on the EMAs and just gap up. Just kept going up. Look at this, came down, touched up, and then it was fighting, and then finally did up. So take a look at all the charts, add these EMAs. I think they would be very helpful, especially with the nodes. If you see a big node up here, you just want to long it. No, it becomes your reject, right? It's always like that. I think we saw like 612, 610 or something. I forgot what it was. Like it can be a reject right here. Reject. Came down, then went up. So once you break a level, that level is going to act as a reject. So I hope this is helpful.